All right, so the dog is wanting to be in the video.
Hello. Hi, darling.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while.
Yeah.
We sort of took a little break from making content. We've had a second child,
Yeah.
and that's sort of been a event all in itself. So yeah, we're sort of getting back into it. This video is going to be a little bit of what we've done over the last couple of years in trips.
Yeah,
Whatnot.
the places we've been over the last 2 years that are good weekend getaways from Sydney.
Yep. Okay, so the first place we're going to talk about here is Belanglo State Forest. We've camped here numerous times over the last umpteen years. We know Belanglo gets a little bit of a bad rap because of events that have happened there.
It's a bit spooky.
But realistically, part of the Southern Highlands is a beautiful area, beautiful part of Australia. It's close to Sydney, and it's not as bad as what people think.
No, definitely not. It's beautiful.
Yeah, from the centre of Sydney, it's about 140 odd k's, an hour and a half's drive. From our place, takes about 2 hours. We're a bit further north, but easy drive, easy to do.
Yeah.
Any Friday arvo, head down and head back on a Sunday night, and you know it's nice and simple. Yeah. So one of the reasons why we actually enjoy going state forest camping is it's, generally speaking, it's free.
Yeah.
We can take our pets along. You don't have to book it in or anything.
Nope.
Normally the access is fantastic. They're usually, got pine plantations in them, so the roads are well graded and looked after.
Definitely. Yeah, and you can generally have a fire depending on where you are.
Yeah. So access into Belanglo, how to get there. So from Sydney, or heading south anyway to Belanglo, super simple drive. Once you get onto the Hume Highway, so if you're north of Sydney, you'd probably hit the M2, M7, and then run down into the Hume, and you just follow that down. Belanglo Road will be on your right. The easiest way I recommend to get there, especially if you're towing caravan or anything like that, rather than crossing over the highway, is to go down to Exeter, or commonly known as Sutton Forest. There's twin servos there. There's a big overpass over the highway, so you drive up there, cross over the highway, head back north. It's about an extra 10 minutes, and Belanglo's on your left. Pull in at the big rest area there, then from the rest area you can keep heading into Belanglo Road. It's a really well graded road, that road. There's a lot of private properties either side of that heading into the forest, and then on the other side of the forest, so it's really well looked after. You end up going past the...
Just getting at the dogs.
You end up going past the rangers' quarters that's there, and there's a sort of depot area as well for the state forest thing. And then, yeah, really once you're inside the forest, it's up to you where you want to go. We tend not to camp at the big areas. So there's a big place called Daly's Clearing. It's a real common place for people to camp.
Yeah, there's a toilet there, composting toilet, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. We've never actually stayed there ourselves.
Yeah.
But it is quite a large area. So you can always camp there. And yeah, you don't need any special vehicle or special tyres. I mean, maybe right now because of the way the weather's been, it might be a little bit more difficult, but it's, I mean, recently there was an event that we held down there and we had coaches driving in there. So, that's, yeah.
It's still fine. Really it's pretty easy.
Yeah. So where we stayed, we're going to talk about two trips a little bit. Yeah. The first trip we stayed there, it was probably a couple of weeks after we picked up our Forbes.
Yeah, June 2020.
Yeah, so yeah, it was June 2020. It was fucking freezing cold, but it was a really good dry test run for us with the van. First time out in it, we just packed up our normal camping stuff and went.
Yeah.
We got to test out the diesel heater, which was
so good.
Yeah, and having our little 6 or 8 month old he was at the time, that was definitely the best thing that we had. We didn't really do too much when we were there. We just hung out and had campfires
awesome.
and stuff. It was really,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
But where, in specific, where we stayed on that weekend was right down the southern end of the pine plantation then. So that was at the corner of Ashurst Road and Cherry Tree Fire Trail. So that's sort of, you come into the forest, and then when you get to the pine plantation, turn left, drive straight down. And when you get to the end of the pine plantation, we camped on the other side of the road to the pine plantation. There's a big clear area there, really easy access. So
yeah, no, it was a good weekend, nice and relaxed. Really eased us into what our setup is for the forbs that we had at the time, which is good.
yeah. And then the second time we went down there, that was for a big scout trip, scout event we ran. That was only the Easter that's just gone.
Yep, 2022.
Yep. That trip we camped right out near Brethren Point Road, I think it is. Brethren Point Fire Trail, something like that.
Yeah.
Once again, it was a really nice area, but because we were running this big event, the really nice camping area was sort of used for the event. So
Which is understandable.
yeah, and that's
So
fine.
we were stuck between a few trees and
We were stuck between a few trees in the bog, but
yeah.
yeah.
It was. It's been very wet this summer, so everything was very boggy, and yeah, so that was a challenge in itself, but it was still pretty nice.
Yeah, but once again, the access in there was still, for the most part, was really, really fine. We had buses and coaches and little 2-wheel drive cars getting in. And overall, though, Belanglo as an area, I know people get a bit about the word Belanglo, but really, really, really nice place to go. And if you like state forests and stuff, they have on their website how to do, pick for mushrooms and stuff like that. Different mushrooms that grow in the forests.
Just be aware they do have a lot of beehives there as well.
Yes.
So sometimes if you're in certain areas, there can be a lot of bees in that area. However, it's never really been a problem except for this last time that we went. So it must depend on where you go.
Yeah, and the beehives that are in there get moved around by the people who own them.
Yeah.
So it just turned out that we were close enough to
One of the hives.
Yeah. But yeah, in general, as a place to go, definitely recommend it. It's close to home. You can get back out to Mittagong really, really easily, or duck down to the Servo. It's only 10 minutes away.
Mossvale. Like, there's so many nice places to go see if you want to stay a little bit longer and go into town. We've just never really had that time. Usually it's just a weekend trip and we're trying to escape people. Okay, so that's our view on Belanglo and whether we like it or not as a campsite. As you can see, we definitely do. We'd highly recommend going again. If you like this kind of video, let us know so that we can do more of them.
So?
You're distracting me. If it was boring,